I'm working in a company called Allegorithmic that are producing software that is called Substance. And at Allegorithmic, what I'm taking care of is industrial design and architecture. So today I wanted to tell you a little bit more about materials and how materials behave in 3D for 3D rendering that can come from real-time experiences, VR, AR, but also offline renders. But before digging into the presentation, I wanted just to do a quiz. I know that most of you guys are having a post-lunch sleep. So what I would like to do together, if you are okay with, is here there are two images. And I want just you to tell me who think that the pictures, because there is a picture and a 3D, who believe that the picture is on the right? All right. Who think that the picture is on the left? I get a good audience here. But at least what can be said here is that even though you were able to find what was the picture, it takes you a while to find it out, to sort it out. Because today, what is called in VFX and animation the uncanny valley is really, the gap is filled. Like it's really hard to tell which one is the picture and which one is the 3D rendering. And that's where we stand. And more than that, what you have on the right is something that is fully virtual, so can be customized and changed. For instance, the wood color can be changed, the varnish, the edges of the wood can be changed. Same thing for the ceramic. Everything can be customized and parametrically changed, because behind of it, what you have is a recipe of a material that you have produced with Substance. So really today, what Substance becoming is the industry standard for material creation and texturing. And it first appeared in the game industry. So you will notice that some of the examples are more game-oriented. What I wanted first to do, because most of you are visualization experts, but maybe not every of you, is what material creation and texture is all about. What you have on the left is a 3ds Max model that is directly out of Max, so it's triangles, modelization, geometry, with nothing on top of it. On the right, you have the picture with the material that has been created and applied to the geometry. Then, what is Substance is another paradigm. Each of the materials that you will apply using Substance is a material that is tweakable. So if you are used to CATIA, Pro Engineer, you are used to put parameters in your design. You first do it in 2D and in 3D, and you are modifying the size of each of your parameters, and your object is changing shape. Here, we are tweaking parameters, and your material is changing. So you can change the family of the bricks, you can change the pattern, how it's organized. You can change the age of it in game, you're using a lot of that. And also the size of the mortise and the color. So what you do have when you are using a Substance as a material is a living materials and a tweakable materials. And best thing now is also to see how it's used in the different industries. So I have a small show reel showing a couple of examples of production that has been made with Substance in the last year. So as you will see, we are pretty big in game industry. So you will see many game. We are currently in the middle of the Game Developer Conference in San Francisco right now. So half of the team is at GDC and the rest is here. What you can see, and what is probably the most interesting part of that, is that the game industry has been leading 3D for years now. And the most advanced real-time technology that has been developed in the game industry. So coming from the game industry, we always have been challenged to do real-time, very high-end visualization. And now it's opening to a wider audience, including architecture and visualization, including product design, transportation design, and also VFX. Because we see more and more VFX being real-time and not computed anymore. What is interesting also with Substance is that you can do super realistic but also stylized things. We were very famous to do both ways. Some example in product design. What is interesting, for instance, with the shoe that you have seen, is that all the wrinkles, the holes, are in the textures and not in the modeling. So you can save time doing less in the modeling and more in the texturing. Other animations. Here is a student project, by the way. Some stuff that are in the middle of VFX, and it could be some industrial machinery is not that far away. That was last year Unity demonstration, if you remember well. So that's where we are coming from. We are coming from game, then we open to VFX, and more recently to architecture and industrial design, bringing the technology we brought to the video game to this wider audience. Here are a couple of references. We are in the universe of design, so car manufacturers, visualization experts and tier 1 suppliers, industrial machinery, aviation, advertisement, high-tech and luxury, simulation, more social medias and toys. Also some large catalog companies like IKEA, and finally footwear and sportswear and apparel. You will see, I have a couple of examples of that. And each time, the same way that what we do is we bring what we brought to video game to the industry. So from Forza to this interior of Hyundai, or the exterior of Forza Horizon 3, and the exterior of this, for instance, Hyundai we presented to GTC. Other example of products, so I was talking about this shoe and how we made these wrinkles being part of the texture. Same thing here for a bag. Here all the stitches, for instance, are also part of the texture. And this image has been directly produced in Substance Designer. And again, what is a substance is in fact a variation of materials. So each of those slices correspond to a tweak of the materials. If you want to have more shiny, more 3D deformed fabric is how you made it. One thing about also substance, what we want is to integrate to the pipelines. So the idea is to plug very easily to both game engine, but also modeling and animation tools down to renders. So you can see here the toolset where we integrate to, so Unreal, Unity, of course, CryEngine. Modeling is about Maya, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, and Modo that are more DCC oriented, we will say. And more recently, we added Houdini for VFX and CATIA for more CAD oriented. I added and many more because there is more, and there is also more to come. So first, the format itself is usable by many software. Just to give you an idea, when we talk about integration, that's in the latest version of CATIA, the 3D Experience one. And here I want to use a substance. I go to our library of PBR materials, substance source. I identify a material I would like to use. I can, of course, check it out on the website, how it looks like, both in 2D but also in 3D with our partner Sketchfab. We download the file that, by the way, is 10 kilobytes, and I will plug it to CATIA, and on the fly, the Substance engine will be generate the maps here in 2K, and I will be able to check it out directly in my modelization environment. So here is a CATIA visualization. that is PBR compliant. And you can see that directly, still in my modeling tool, I'm able to tweak my materials. So changing the roundness of the shape, the normal orientation, that was a little bit specific to this material, and the roughness, for instance. So I'm still in my modeling tool, and I'm able to tweak the materials. And you don't need a Substance license for that. It's the integration of Substance in your toolset. Here I will take a little bit more regular material, a brush metal. I can check it out, the textures, and directly through the integration, we automatically plug the right maps to the right channels and allow the user to tweak some of the parameters that has been open. So that was for the brush metal. I can do the same thing for the exterior of the seat, and for this one I want to do, I want to use a wood. And the wood is usually something pretty difficult to do. What we decided to do in this specific wood, that is the Vengi in English, probably, is the capability to have a full procedural wood, meaning that when I will be using it, I will be able to change the orientation, but also the number of notes, for instance, the varnish, the glossiness of the varnish, the different type of varnish. All that will be tweakable directly in my tool. So I'm happy with this one. And I'm using it here for the back of my seat. I'm checking the maps, and then I will play around with the parameters. So that's what we are providing to the visualization expert, 3D artist, or CAD modelers, is a quick way to generate super realistic materials and still being able to tweak the parameters of it to adapt it to their purpose. So here you saw I changed the varnish and the varnish type. I can also change the orientation, and I can play with the nodes. So you will see the nodes will disappear when I will be sliding the parameters. So that's the kind of thing that we can do. Just you to know, more generally, we also provide a free PDF reader of Substance. If you need to export the map to any kind of software, you can do it. The other big value of using Substance is we are describing the materials through PBR, standing for physically based rendering materials. So we are agnostic from the rendering. So it could be retraced, it could be real time, it can be Unreal, it can be V-Ray, it can be Array or Unity. We have something that is consistent. So you can build up a library of materials that is not depending on the rendering tools. And why so is that the PBR, so PBR is coming from a paper from Disney about 5 years ago. And the way you're describing your materials using PBR is agnostic from any of the tool, and it's really describing how the material will react to lighting condition. So when you will be moving around your object, you will see how it will behave. And to do that, there is two kinds of workflow: metallic roughness that is more game, specular glossiness that is more architecture based in the origins. I won't go in depth in the detail. If you want, we have a PBR guide on our website that explains everything about what can be done, which effect can be done. Long story short, all those effects combined allowed you to create super realistic material. And those materials can be reused in all kinds of experiences. So it can go from VR experiences, AR experiences, renderings, 3D 60-degree renderings, and a high-resolution image. So the idea is really to reuse the same material library for all those purposes. I will try to give you a small idea about the toolset and what can be done there. First, about Substance Designer is where we create materials. And Substance Designer can help you to create materials that are fully procedural, scan-based, or hybrid, mixing procedural information with also leather, for instance, creating those kind of materials. So about procedural, that's how it looked like for this marble. That's the full graph, but then the user will just have to tweak those parameters that are corresponding to the color, to the density of the white insert that you will see, and the randomness of the seeds. So you can really capture a lot of complexity in one material. We also have a scan pipeline that is agnostic from the scan device. We even explain on our website how you can build your own material scanner. The idea is to light the same sample with different light angle, and then crop the sample, clean it, and then make it tileable so that you can apply it to a wider surface. So that's the kind of graphs that allowed you to create out of several images of the same samples with different lighting, information about without any lighting condition and the normal. And here for this specific one, we also backlight it to have some information about the transparency. If you want to do augmented materials, that's how you will do it. You can add procedural information on top of a scan layer, for instance here. So that's the three kind of things that you can generate, three kind of methods you can generate using Substance Designer. Then I also wanted to show you a little bit of Substance Source. Substance Source is our already made library of materials that is web-based. So I've been showing it to you in the CATIA demo. I can switch to the website right now just to show you. So we organized it through categories. And then when you select something, you can see how it looks like in 2D with some renderings with the different channels. The presets, what we do is we store different combination of sliders, and we can also check it out in 3D model onto a 3D model that is making sense when it's loaded. Awesome. So that's how you do, and then you download it, and you are able to tweak it in your software. In order to make it even more usable, what we did is we also integrated to some of our integration. Yeah. So here, for instance, you are in Unreal, and you still are able to browse Substance Source without opening your web browser. You have it directly integrated. If you select a material, it automatically downloads it, but also create an Unreal materials, and is still tweakable in your Unreal interface. So what you have seen in CATIA, you have the same in Unreal, you have the same in Unity or in 3ds Max. So really, we want to keep freedom to the users. And to finish, I wanted to show you a little bit of drops of Substance Source. So we started Substance Source a year ago with 600 materials. And since we make it grow with time, so we have now 1,400 materials. And we started with architectural materials. So that's 200 procedural material in order to save time for architects to do those kind of renderings. Then we also made 3D printing installation. So that's a couple of examples. So corresponding to each of the process of 3D printing, we released some materials, clip, stereolithography, ferrofluids, and again, each of them are tweakables. So here on these ferrofluids, I'm able to change that. Same thing for cutted wood, etc., etc. We also work on textile. That is one of the latest drops we made. So here it's a mix of a scan-based and hybrid and procedural information on top of it. And I will finish on the very last drop we are working on. Oh, first, a little video about showing those textile in context. So here is a motion designer that is called Andreas Barden that use Marvelous, Cinema 4D, and Octane to generate those kind of motion design using Substance Materials textile drop. And to finish, what we are working on right now is an automotive drop. And this velvet, for instance, will be part of it, and expect to see leather, plastics, carbon fibers, and car paints. And that was it.